Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final week. Hopefully things have been going well with you all. And I know things are busy. Many of you are seniors, and we have a lot going on at the end of the semester, but we got one last test just to knock out this, hopefully our first college credit. Um, so yeah, it's here's the breakdown. Hopefully you've seen this by now. The big deal is probably the one page of notes. That's going to be important there. One-sided. And really, the key is to go through the other tests, which you should be able to review at this point. Go through the other tests and look at how the questions were worded and how they're organized. 90% of them look exactly the same, right? There's a couple little differences just to keep things fresh and challenging. But yeah. So when you look at chapter 1 and 2 and chapter 12, but chapters 1 and 2, there are some, definition questions, the type of samples, type of variables here. And then observational versus experiment, right? Just another multiple choice question. Then we have some organizing of some raw data, frequency distribution, just count it up. Can we make it look like what it's supposed to look like? Then find the mean, median, and standard deviation. The tricky part there is to make sure you know which standard deviation we're talking about, because the calculator does give us two. Then we do have an empirical rule question. And now this one's a little bit tricky because we're finding approximate area under the curve, whereas in chapter 6 and 7, we learned how to find the exact amount. So just remember there's that 68, 95, 99.7 rule. So we want to take a look at that. And then chapter 12, I know it says one question, but it is a bigger question just because there's a lot going on there. So the correlation coefficient R, and interpret, make sure you know what it means. You're going to want to find the least squares regression line and then be able to use it. And also find the relation between residual plot and linear appropriateness. So the key to studying for this final is to note what's not there. So there's nothing about quartiles, for example. Not that that was a terribly stressful question, but you don't want to waste your time on things, for example, like chapter 5. Or I apologize, chapter 4 with the binom PDF and CDF. So really, these are the topics here. So then we have chapter 3. This, in my opinion, is, I don't want to say the hardest chapter, but it's the least direct chapter. You don't know exactly what the questions look like, but know how to find the probability from a table. And that is the and or conditional probability of E or F, E and F, E given F, things like that. There's a separate question that, involves the topics about, marbles out of a bag or picking without replacement. And then once you're there, figuring out how to do the at least one probability. Remember, you use the complement rule for that situation. Chapter 6 and 7, while I do not believe these are the hardest questions, these generally seem to be the least successful questions on finals. For whatever reason, it's how it goes. So yeah, but it's just using normal CDF and checking your conditions. So sometimes with normal CDF, you have to change things to like mu sub p hat and sigma sub p hat. But sometimes you also just use the mu and the sigma that's given to you. So just look for those language cues, those language, oh my goodness, I guess clues to tell you which situation you're in, right? Is there a sample size or not a sample size, for example? Then we have chapters 8, 9, and 10. And it's a little bit weird here because we have not been tested on chapter 10. But we've done confidence intervals. That shouldn't be any problem. And then there's 5 different hypothesis tests that can pop up. Not all of them will. So look at your quiz from this section. We had all of them pop up. Well, the 3 from chapter 10. But about two proportion hypothesis tests will pop up out of the 3. And then there will be a hypothesis test from chapter 9 as well. But the questions look the same style. Hey, which test should we use? Which function should we use in the calculator? What is the p-value? Do you reject? It's organized the same way that we've seen those chapter 9 questions organized. And chapter 11, this is a heavier portion of our test. We haven't been tested on it, but there are 2 more hypothesis tests here. You will see both of them, a goodness of fit test and a test for independence. So use that matrix, use that chi-squared G of F, and find the expected counts. That's going to be part of it. I'm going to have you enter all the expected counts or expected frequency for that. There's a lot of blanks in these problems, like a lot of little entries to be put in. So just be extra careful with typing. But as usual, many of you sent me emails in the past. Hey, I missed 1 decimal. Can I get credit back? And almost always, yes, you can. So even if that happens, you just kind of mistype and it's a very clear mistype, or you put a percentage and it should have been a fraction, I usually will give you points back for that. So don't be afraid to ask. I've had office hours. Not many people will be taking or have taken advantage of it, but I'll have one last office hour just to kind of maybe fight for your grade and talk to me about your grade at the end of the semester on Sunday. So yeah, or perhaps I'll post it to Monday just so we can have the weekend. And since the Monday's the holiday, but I'll send an email about that. I know it'll technically is after the semester, but sometimes we just need to let the semester end and then take a look at our grade as a whole. So yeah. Yeah, that's what this looks like. Please email me with any questions. I can usually meet on Zoom, like on a Wednesday night. I've had office hours, but not many people have attended. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely let me know. But other than that, I've seen a lot of good stuff in the discussions this semester. I hope we learned a little bit of something and the power of stats. And yeah, I wish you all the best with your future endeavors and great success in college. So yeah, that's all I got for now. Again, email me if there's anything else. Have a good one.